Today, as usual, we're unboxing and testing a smartphone. What's different is that this phone is really special. Let's put it this way. This phone should be the most unique on the market right now. The most uniquely designed phone. Nothing Phone 3A. It's currently the best looking mid-range phone, but is it the most worth buying mid-range phone? Let's continue watching today's video. Before unboxing, let's talk about Nothing. This company is relatively young. It launched its first Bluetooth earphone product in 2021. As for phones, if we talk about generations, it's only the third generation. However, the founder is actually an old acquaintance. The boss of Nothing is actually Peiyu, one of the co-founders of OnePlus back in the day. So to really say, I think Nothing phones from the very beginning, I feel it's somewhat like the early days of OnePlus, with many designs and innovations that differed from the market, especially design. I wonder if everyone still remembers when OnePlus first appeared. It emphasized different body materials and even interchangeable back covers. There were many designs that were completely different from the market. As for myself, am I familiar with Nothing? Back with their first product in 2021, Nothing launched their first earphone product. I got the Nothing Ear at that time because it was a very rare transparent earphone design. Now I am also a user of their Nothing Ear second generation product. The first Nothing phone back then was released Taiwan. I made a video, do you remember? You got paid, right, for the filming, but I didn't release the video. I didn't edit it because first Taiwan was late compared to the global launch. It was delayed by several months, and then I received the device late as well. After filming, I reviewed the footage, so it's one of my dark histories. I didn't edit into a finished product. Wasted time, wasted money, plus one. Only the director earned the fee, criticized bubble. Anyway, let me introduce today's device. The latest release in Taiwan, the Nothing Phone 3A. This has an A in it, a similar naming principle with an A suffix. This is generally part of their family of phones, positioned more as an entry-level model or a mid-range phone. If you talk about beginner, they actually have a sub-brand called CMF, which is quite special. CMF focuses on colorful and youthful designs, but that's not the focus today. When Ahui was covering the MWC in Spain, I actually received an invitation from Nothing. So I attended their party event in Spain. I got to try out, including Nothing 3A and the new Nothing Phone 3A Pro. Wait, what did I just say? Nothing Phone 3A Pro, yes, on my website. I also have an article from that time about the two new devices, including multiple colors. That's right, this time the Nothing Phone 3A has two models to choose from. This is also the A series. Can I say it like this? The first time the A series has launched a Pro model, but hey, produced in Taiwan. That's right. Yes, it's not in Taiwan. In any case, I also give the specifications. Nothing Phone 3A Pro, and also the Nothing 2A. Comparison, actually, if we really look at it, the main difference in the Pro is the telephoto lens. Comparing like this, I feel like whether Taiwan introduces it or not, it seems okay, at least for now, because currently there are rumors saying Nothing's flagship phone, which is the Nothing, might be arriving soon, is to wait for the Nothing 3 later to be launched in Taiwan when it's released. So skipping the Nothing Phone 3A Pro doesn't seem like a bad thing. In any case, Nothing 3 come quick. Is this focus? Please launch in Taiwan as well. All right, back to today's main topic. Nothing Phone 3A. Taiwan has introduced two colors, black and white, 8GB, 128GB, and there are two specs, 12GB plus 256GB. Choose according to your needs. I still recommend directly buying the 12GB plus 256GB version. Whether it's RAM or ROM, the performance is still better. I really think the box design is outstanding. It truly gives off a kind of feeling of unboxing an Apple phone. Taking it out, its inner box is nice. The inner box includes an embossed design. This is a very beautiful design. And after opening it, its charging cable is also specially designed. It's not just a standard generic cable. It looks very exquisite. And the charger, please, this is a company that prioritizes design. The charger, of course, needs to be purchased separately. Do you understand? Don't, do you? Right. In any case, they sell chargers separately. So I tested it directly. You don't necessarily have to buy the original charger, as long as it generally meets PD PPS specifications and supports 50W fast charging. It can charge over 45W. The charging speed is quite good. However, I think the accessories are simple. Fortunately, when we turn the device over, you will find there is something on device screen, a pre-applied PET material screen protector. It's okay, but no case. Buy one. You open today's main feature, Nothing Phone 3. It uses a 6.77-inch AMOLED screen with a centered punch hole front camera. As for the screen's four bezels, speaking of equal width, or should I say equal thickness, in any case, the bezels aren't very thin. Overall, it's like a mid-range or international model. with thick bezels on all 4 sides. However, the equal width on all sides, I think it's quite a balanced design. What's more interesting is, when I looked at some reviews, it feels like there's a kind of detailed design to it more. In any case, it would be better if the bezels were a bit thinner. The screen rears FHD 2392x1080 supports a 120Hz high refresh rate. The maximum peak brightness of the screen is 3000 nits. Here, we also tested the manual maximum brightness and the global maximum triggered brightness for your reference. Well, in any case, let's quickly go over the front of the screen. It's nice looking. The software, I think it's the key design focus to discuss later. The most important thing is when we turn to the back, the design of this device is intricately highlight of Nothing Phone 3A, or its standout feature. Its design is generally similar to the previous family series, featuring a lot of transparent design. The specially designed cutouts and internal layout are really very attractive. It lacks wireless charging, so it lacks the embellishment of a wireless coil. I still think it's a very attractive design, especially this white model. It really suits my taste. I love it. The device's frame, which is a matte plastic frame, I'm quite surprised to see a plastic frame these days. Then paired with black buttons, it's quite attractive design. The power button and volume buttons are arranged on the left and right. However, below the power button, there's a button. This special button we'll talk about later. As for the weight, it's quite a lightweight device, weighing 201 grams. The water resistance is rated at IP64, a better improvement prior gen's IP54. However, to be honest, as of now, IP64 is not a very strong specification. For fingerprint recognition, it uses an under-display optical fingerprint sensor, but the position is relatively low, almost at the bottom. If you're operating it with one hand, you need to be a bit careful when holding it. The SIM card is located at the bottom, using a 5G SIM standby design dual-sided card slot. It fits Taiwan's 5G network. No issues, use all frequency bands. It does not support memory card expansion, so it's recommended you choose a capacity enough for your needs. What's particularly noteworthy is that, unfortunately, looking specs, it seems that if it's the 3A Pro, it does support eSIM, but Nothing Phone does not. It only supports physical dual SIMs, so it's not possible. If you have such a need, you can use Conversion Tool. I have made another video introduction which allows you to install an eSIM onto a physical card accessory. Unique design of Nothing Phone, firstly, is the special Glyph lighting system. Simply put, it's about playing with lights. The Nothing Phone 3A has 3 LED light strips, with a total of 26 customizable LED lighting zones in total. This Glyph lighting system have a very high level of playability. You can use it as a fill light when taking photos, taking selfies, use as a small countdown timer reminder. There's a light notification for incoming calls. And even, like right now, with different ringtones, you can assign different people. If you're using it in your daily life, practical feature is you can enable this feature where normally you have the volume and vibration on. You can place the screen face down on the table. It will auto switch to silent mode. If someone calls or messages you, there will be no sound, but it will default to using the light mode for notifications. In addition, built in a wide variety of lighting effects. There's even a built-in editor feature where you can edit the lighting effects you want. You might ask if it's useful. I think it's pretty cool. It depends on your personal preference. For example, when I increase the volume or slightly decrease it, yes. And if you want to set it up, you can set it so that when playing music, the lights change with your rhythm. You can even integrate with third-party apps. Like when you call an Uber, this can be integrated. Next, let's talk about the software part. The software of the Nothing Phone is also something I find quite interesting. It can be described as a deeply customized Google native system. First, the home screen. The home screen itself is similar to Google's native dual-layer home screen design. As the home screen icons, you can choose in the settings whether you want to use the Nothing style, like these black icons, or if you want to use the original colorful display. You can even choose third-party icon packs. The popular AI wallpapers are also available. You can choose 2 types of wallpapers to mix and match effects. However, you can't upload your own now. I find unfortunate. If you could upload your own photos today and then mix them with the built-in styles, I definitely think it would be a better design. Maybe we'll see in future OTA upgrades. It also has a built-in dual app feature. This includes your Line, your Messages, and your Facebook. All can be used. This button aside is the essential key special button. Some people jokingly call it the AI button, which is the case. You could even say that it is a quick AI recording feature. All right, just find a photo, select the photo, and anytime you hold down this special button, after holding it down, you can directly input using voice. For example, I feel that the weather is very cold right now, and it makes me think I want to create something about when it's cold, like mobile phone peripheral applications and usage tips. Release it, and it records your current screen display along with your recent voice input and makes it text content providing an AI summary. You could say that wherever you go, whenever you think of something, you just take out your phone when you have an idea. Hold down its button and you can start talking, allowing for voice recognition and recording. In the app, it will list the screen capture you took at that moment with recorded content. Find it convenient. Finally, it also offers the Nothing 3A with built-in stereo dual speakers. This speaker was tested and here I will use a professional recorder to record it. I recommend wearing headphones to enhance listening. Now about the camera system, considering the positioning of the Nothing Phone 3A as a mid-range device and the fact that it is from an emerging manufacturer, I originally thought that the camera part could be described as the standard mid-range device. However, after testing it for a while, I found its camera performance to be unexpectedly good and surprisingly fun. First, the main camera is 5000 pixels with a 1.57 sensor size, which is quite a common standard size. I was a bit surprised by the small aperture. f1.9 reminds me a bit of Pixel specs, but it also has OIS stabilization, so I think it's okay. The bonus feature is in the 3A part, not the Pro. It has a 50 megapixel 2x telephoto lens, equivalent to a 50 mm focal length. In daily life, if you want to take telephoto shots or take lifestyle and portrait photos, this small 2x telephoto lens with an f2.0 aperture, I think it's quite good. This is a bonus feature for a mid-range phone. However, the ultra-wide angle is an 8 megapixel ultra-wide angle that adds value. Not sure if it's from Realme or borrowed from Oppo. Overall, I think the camera experience is quite good. Telephoto lens plus. The main camera performs well both day and night. And even in its camera interface, there's a small arrow at the bottom that you can swipe up to quickly switch modes. It's a bit like the iPhone. It's even simpler. After swiping up, it actually shows something like examples. I think it's quite nice to have examples, allowing you to switch between standard mode, portrait mode, ultra-wide mode, black-white film, and a glass window effect among various effects to choose from. So it's a bit like a combination switch of effects and modes. Among them, the standard mode, portrait mode, and ultra-wide are more common, I think. The ones I recommend are, firstly, its black and white film effect. This effect is intense. Even though it lacks Leica, it reminds me of the Huawei P9 back in the day, with the camera effect enhanced a black and white lens. The black and white film effect is truly excellent. I recommend everyone to try it if you get the chance. Then there's the glass window. The effect is quite special, a little. It feels like you're separated by a kind of, well, how should I put it? Like there's a wavy glass window slightly behind you. When you take a photo and share it on social media, it's quite unique. However, I think it's an interesting special effect. As for the portrait and selfie parts, as usual, I've asked a lovely young lady to demonstrate for everyone's reference. As for the portrait part, when I tested it myself, I found it good. It includes beauty effects and portrait depth of field. The portrait depth of field bokeh can be set different effects, such as stars, and special effects like hearts. The effects are quite strong, just don't open the aperture too wide. And I think the realism is actually quite good. However, in the portrait bokeh depth of field part, I'm not sure due to the machine's performance, or because the software is relatively early stage. If you take about 7 or 8 continuous shots, the system might freeze, and you have to wait for post-processing to complete before you continue press the next shot. But at this time, the system doesn't have a pause notification or an operation that highlights it, which makes you feel a bit stuck. I think it's a minor issue, and generally if in your daily life you're not continuously shooting models, it's not likely to occur. So I think the camera is acceptable, no problem. Alright, let's take a look at the performance and battery test of the Nothing phone, or 3A. The test unit I have is the 12GB plus 256GB version regarding the processor. The Nothing phone, 3A, including even the 3A Pro, all use Qualcomm's mid-range 7's Gen 3 processor. If you've watched Ahoy's video reviews, the S in 7s actually represents a lower tier within the 7 series. It's considered a lower level, so it's faster than the 6 series, but it's one of the slower models in the 7 series. So I think it's enough for use, and it's a power-efficient processor. Here, I'll also provide the benchmark scores for your reference. Of course, if you want to say, I think for most regular games, they run smoothly without any issues. However, if you run Genshin, Star Rail, the resolution and graphics quality will be affected. This is just for your reference. If you have performance demands, I can only say, most games are not a problem. In daily life, current phone performance is generally sufficient. It depends on you, whether you have the need for such large-scale games. As for the other aspects, including what I mentioned earlier, when taking a large number of photos, performance might affect the post-processing time, and it might also be related to the processor. Its video recording specification is up to 4K at 30 FPS. It does not support 4K at 60 FPS. So this is something to pay a little attention to. Battery life, there are no major issues, including its built-in system, which is more native, so it's actually quite power efficient. The battery is built in with a 5000 mAh battery. I use a PD charger that I have, which supports PPS in testing. In practice, it can charge at around 45W. Then in about 20 minutes, you can charge the entire device from 0% to 50%. You can take a look at this graph. Charging it from 0 to 100 can be completed within an hour, so there's no issue with the charging speed. That's all for Ahoy's intro today. Nothing phone, 3A. Actually, if we really look back and talk about it, who is it really suitable for? It should be considered a mid-range model. I think the closest comparison might be devices like Samsung's A55, A56 level. I could even say that in this price range. Nothing Phone 3A has best designs. There's a matter of personal preference. But I think, at least from what I've photographed so far with models and colleagues, I feel everyone thinks the design of Nothing's phone accessories is a very positive aspect. In comparison, its camera system in this price range even has distinctive features and a slightly enhanced camera configuration with performance that is adequate and sufficient. On the downside, if we talk about drawbacks, it's the water resistance is weak, so there was no underwater ceremony today. The key point is it looks good. It looks good, and it's truly unique. In the current situation where phones are becoming increasingly homogeneous and many phones are starting to look more and more alike, I actually think the Nothing phone is always striving for a different design, including the looks and software. I think it's actually quite good. In short, in this era where phone homogeneity is increasing, the Nothing phone has a unique design, further pursuing a different appearance and distinctive characteristics and differentiation in software. I actually think it's a manufacturer and phone worth encouraging. Buy it? I think it depends on your budget and whether you like the appearance or not, if it adds any points for you. All right, you like Ahoy's videos, like subscribe, turn on notify bell. 100,000 subscribers, we always hope for more, right? If possible, please also promote the trending videos and share this video with those who need it. Ask below, try my best to answer them. Thank you all. Bye bye.